So first of all, if empty URL, I'm going to echo out error not, oh no, sorry, error, yeah, we could say, or no, or not URL. No URL would sound better. If the URL is invalid, so if we are not typing a valid URL, we're going to echo out error invalid URL. If 1 equals 2, which is eventually going to be our function isMin, which is going to already check if it's a shortened URL, we're going to echo out error isMin. And we're going to pick up on these, like I said, in index.php. Otherwise, if all of these checks are passed, and otherwise echo URL. So we can test this out in here, but first of all we actually need to pass through the validation. So what we do here is we create some more if statements to check the URL and the things that have been passed. So we say if data equals error no URL, do something, else if data is equal to error invalid URL, else if data is equal to error isMin, and then else we actually want to display the shortened URL that we're going to be passing through url.php. So if there is no URL present, what we actually want to do is we want to say $, and then in brackets hash message dot HTML, and then here we're going to put our error message. So I'm going to surround this in paragraph tags, and I'm going to say invalid URL. Okay? Oh, sorry, no, that's the no URL. So no URL specified. Okay, so I'm changing it around a bit from the initial example, but as long as we're outputting error messages, everything's fine. So now we say hash message.html. This is for the invalid URL. So again, in paragraph tags, not a valid URL. Simple. If it is already a shortened URL, we want to say hash message.html. Again, in paragraph tags, already a min.bz URL. Okay, so we've created our error set. Otherwise, what we want to simply do is we want to set a value to our actual field. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say hash url.val data. Okay, so what's going to happen is url.php is going to echo out the URL, which will eventually be shorten, and it's going to pass it back to index.php and just put it back into this field here. Like you saw in the example, we just process it and then pop it back into the field ready for the user to select, and that's the shortened URL. Then we want to $sign hash URL dot select. That's going to highlight the whole field ready for them to copy and paste. And then we say hash message, which is our message div, .html, and then again in paragraph tags we want to say successfully shortened your URL. Shortened. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so successfully shortened your URL. And Again, let me just loop over it. We are sending the URL to url.php. We're echoing these specific error messages, which are then going to be picked up by data equals the error message that we've put back. Then we are doing this here. So we're doing it all on the same page. We're not refreshing, nothing. So this might seem like a bit of a complicated way to go around things, but in short, it's going to make it a lot easier for your users, and that's the most important thing. So let's go ahead and upload this and test it out. So what should happen at the moment is we are going to check for either not a URL, so no URL entered. If I was to just click shorten now, we're then checking for a valid URL. We're not actually at the moment checking for the if it's already a min.bz URL, because we haven't touched on the functions yet. But let's go ahead and test this out. So enter, no URL specified. That's working. Everything's done in that respect. Now let's type in a load of rubbish and press enter. Not a valid URL. Again, we are successfully checking. If we're to type a valid URL, let's type google.co.uk. You can see that when we press shorten or press enter, we say successfully shortened URL. We're re-echoing back out, or we're re-putting the URL that we passed through here into URL. So we're taking the data that's passed, which at the moment, considering all these have passed, is just echoing out URL. We're putting it into our URL field, and we're selecting it, and we're giving this message. So the only thing that we're missing at the moment is actually shortening the URL, obviously, which is the most important bit. But for now, we've created the validation, which is equally as important as the overall effect of the website. So we've done that. Now I'm going to go ahead and create the isMin function, which is again important because we are checking here if it's already a min.bz URL, which is important because we don't want to re-shorten a shortened URL. So I'm going to say is_min URL. So it's checking, it's using this function and saying if the URL that we've specified and posted through jQuery is already a shortened URL, echo out error is min, and then we're picking up on that error is min, and then we're putting that into the message div. So we need to do a few things here. The first thing we need to do is come up here and include our func.inc.php file, which is going to include all the functions that we're using throughout this process. Now we're just going to create this isMin function. So let's go ahead and say function isMin. It's obviously going to take a parameter, which is URL, because we actually need to process the URL. We need to pass a URL to actually check if it's already or looks like a min.bz URL. And we are using the pregmatch function to perform a regular expression check on this variable. So let's go ahead and isMin URL. We're passing the URL back to this, and then we are checking. So what we want to do is we want to return, and in here we're going to put a condition. So we're going to check using the pregmatch function. If the pregmatch function finds out that it is already a URL, we're going to return true. Otherwise, we're going to return false. So in here is our condition. So our condition is going to be pregmatch. It's going to take two parameters, and the first one is the regular expression, and then we have the URL. So we're passing this and we're checking it against this pattern. So the pattern is we're including the start and the end, and we're making it case insensitive at the end, and then we are saying min.bz, okay, in the middle of that. Now we have one problem here, is that if we are checking this, the dot is now included, so we need to actually escape that dot. Okay, so we're essentially checking if min.bz is within the URL that has been typed, which is there. We've passed it through. If it is, if it matches this pattern, we're returning true, otherwise we're returning false. So in URL, if this is equal to true, i.e. if our return function is true, then we echo out this message. So let's upload that and give that a check. yes. And let's go ahead and try and press enter first of all, no URL specified, not a valid URL. Now let's go ahead and type in min.bz/, okay, enter, already a min.bz URL. So we can even type just min.bz, that will automatically return no, not a valid URL. If we were even trying to shorten min.bz itself, we already say already a min.bz URL.